Did you know that nearly 1 billion people go to bed hungry every night? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by such numbers, to feel like our individual contributions could never make a difference. But what if I told you that the power to change the world lies not in grand gestures, but in the everyday generosity we show toward others? It's about a heart posture, a willingness to share what we have, our time, our resources, our love with those around us. This journey into the heart of biblical generosity might surprise you. So, let's dive in and discover why giving matters more than we think. When we hear the word generosity, our minds often jump to images of wealthy philanthropists writing big checks to charitable organizations. The Bible challenges us to broaden our understanding, to see generosity as a way of life rather than a once-in-a-while act. It's about offering a listening ear to a friend, volunteering our skills, or simply extending grace and forgiveness. Generosity is about living with an outward focus, looking for ways to bless others and make a positive impact on the world around us. What if I told you that generosity is not just about what we give, but also about what we receive? The act of giving has a profound impact on the giver as well as the receiver. When we choose to be generous, we tap into a wellspring of joy and fulfillment that money can't buy. The Bible teaches us that it is more blessed to give than to receive. When we embrace a lifestyle of generosity, we open ourselves up to a world of unexpected blessings and discover the transformative power of giving. One of the biggest hurdles to embracing true generosity is the misconception of scarcity. We live in a world that constantly tells us we don't have enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough resources. The Bible, however, offers a radically different perspective. It speaks of a God who is abundantly generous, a God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and lavishes his creation with blessings. This shift in perspective is crucial because it allows us to move from a place of fear to a place of faith, trusting that God will provide for our needs as we seek to meet the needs of others. Another common misconception about generosity is that it requires us to give until we feel deprived or uncomfortable. True generosity is not about emptying our pockets to the point of exhaustion, but about allowing our hearts to be moved by compassion and love. When we understand this fundamental truth, our relationship with possessions begins to change. This frees us to give cheerfully and generously, not out of obligation or guilt, but out of a joyful overflow of the love and grace we have received. Perhaps the most pervasive misconception about generosity is that it is primarily an external act, something we do rather than something we are. True biblical generosity is not merely about outward actions, but about an inward transformation of the heart. This transformation begins when we encounter the overwhelming generosity of God in pouring out his love and grace upon us through Jesus Christ. As we experience the depth of his love for us, our hearts are softened and we are compelled to share that same love with others. Let's turn our attention to a principle that echoes throughout the Bible, a principle deeply intertwined with generosity sowing and reaping. Galatians 6 verse 7 states, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." When we sow seeds of generosity, we are participating in a divine cycle, a rhythm of giving and receiving that extends far beyond our immediate actions. This principle isn't about earning God's favor or manipulating outcomes, but about aligning ourselves with the very nature of God, who is inherently generous and multiplies what is given back to him. One of the most beautiful aspects of generosity is its ripple effect. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 25 states, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." When we give freely and joyfully, we open ourselves up to receive blessings in abundance. The more we give, the more we find ourselves surrounded by generosity, both from God and from those whose lives we've touched. Many Christians are familiar with the concept of tithing, giving 10% of their income to the church. While tithing is an important act of obedience and stewardship, the Bible doesn't stop there when it comes to generosity. Jesus often challenged his followers to go above and beyond the letter of the law, to live lives marked by radical, extravagant generosity. In Luke chapter 6, verse 38, he says, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap." It's a generosity that flows from a heart overflowing with love and gratitude, a generosity that isn't afraid to pour out abundantly, trusting that God will replenish what is given. One of the most poignant stories about generosity in the Bible is found in Mark chapter 12, verses 38 to 44, the story of the widow's offering. Jesus was observing people bringing their gifts to the temple treasury. Many wealthy individuals came and gave large sums of money, showcasing their affluence and piety. Then, a poor widow approached the treasury and gave all she had, 2 small copper coins, worth only a fraction of a penny. Jesus, observing this seemingly insignificant act, called his disciples to him and said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." The parable of the Good Samaritan, found in Luke chapter 10, is a powerful example of biblical generosity. A man was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was robbed and left for dead. Then a Samaritan came upon the injured man. He bandaged the man's wounds, took him to an inn, and paid for his care. Barnabas stands out as someone who inspired and encouraged generosity in others. Known as the son of encouragement, Barnabas played a pivotal role in the early church, using his resources and influence to support the apostles and spread the gospel. In Acts chapter 4, verses 36 to 37, we see Barnabas selling a field he owned and giving the proceeds to the apostles to distribute to those in need. This act of selfless generosity not only met a practical need, but also set a powerful example for others to follow. His life reminds us that generosity isn't limited to giving our own resources. It also includes encouraging encouraging and empowering others to be generous with what they have. Imagine a small, rural village in the heart of a developing country. Poverty is a harsh reality for most families, and access to basic necessities like clean water and health care is a daily struggle. Into this community comes a group of volunteers, armed not with grand promises or extravagant resources, but with open hearts and a willingness to serve. They've come to build a well, a simple structure that will provide access to clean water, a resource often taken for granted in more developed parts of the world. Word spreads quickly through the village about the well and the generosity of these strangers who have come to help. The well, a symbol of life and hope, becomes a testament to the transformative power of generosity. As the well takes shape, something remarkable begins to happen within the village itself. A spirit of unity and collaboration emerges as villagers who were once strangers begin working side by side with the volunteers. Language barriers fade as smiles and gestures of gratitude become a universal language of their own. The act of giving, freely offered and gratefully received, creates a bond that transcends cultural differences and socioeconomic divides. The well, initially intended to provide a basic necessity, becomes a catalyst for something far greater. The story of the well and the village is just one example of the countless ways generosity can manifest in our world. It's a story that speaks to the core of what it means to be truly human, to recognize the needs of others, to extend a helping hand, to give without expecting anything in return. The widow who gave her 2 small coins, the Good Samaritan who stopped to help a stranger, the volunteers who traveled across the world to build a well, they all understood this fundamental truth. They understood that true generosity is not about what we give, but about who we are becoming in the process. Reflecting on biblical generosity, we uncover profound truths. The Bible invites us to see generosity as a heart posture, mirroring God's nature. Stories like the widow's mite and the Good Samaritan challenge our understanding of giving. Generosity isn't just financial, it's about time, kindness, and service. Our resources, money, talents, love, are tools to bless others. This perspective fosters gratitude and trust in God's provision. Sowing and reaping remind us of generosity's lasting impact. Giving enriches both the giver and the receiver. It brings joy, fulfillment, and purpose beyond material wealth. Biblical generosity transforms hearts, communities, and the world. The journey into biblical generosity does not end here. In fact, it's just the beginning. Understanding why giving matters compels us to take action, to integrate these principles into our daily lives. Embracing a lifestyle of giving starts with small, intentional steps. It could be as simple as offering a listening ear to someone in need, or volunteering our time to support a cause we care about. These acts of kindness create ripples of change. Cultivating a spirit of gratitude transforms our perspective, allowing us to see opportunities for generosity in our everyday interactions. Generosity is a journey, not a destination. As we grow in giving, our lives are enriched in ways we never imagined. Let's embrace the call to generosity, knowing that as we give, we are transformed ourselves. Wow, what an incredible journey we've taken together, delving into the heart of biblical generosity. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are some practical ways you can incorporate biblical generosity into your own life? Please consider subscribing for more content like this. Don't forget to hit that like button and share this video. Thanks for watching.